gentlemen, hello and welcome back to the Q. My name is Mark Ellis, and no, you're not mistaken. I'm back and we're working, and the internet is functional, and the app is totally 100% going to. I'm kidding. I wasn't frozen. I just like to make you panic. No, we're all fine. Sorry about yesterday's game. Sorry about that. Some crazy haptics happened with the internet that was out of our control, and unfortunately, we cannot play a game yesterday. But what's the good news? Is it the game that I was really excited? And if you watched yesterday and you were about to play, you know how excited I was about yesterday's match. Why? Because it's all sports and it's all movies. Sports movies. It is actually sports movies. All 12 answers are sports movies. So you might know me from the movie Trivia Schmodown, which is taking the trivia world by storm, if I do say so myself. I co-created that show with my buddy Christian Harloff, and we do matches all the time. We're in our 7th season now. We're still having live matches during COVID-19, as we are doing daily games here on the Q, which I guess is accurately standing for quarantine. So if you ever played the movie Trivia Schmodown, or you think you know a lot about sports or a lot about movies, it's best if you know a combination of all those, then you're probably going to do well in today's fill-in-the-blank game. These are all fill-in-the-blanks, but do not panic, because I'm going to give you plenty of hints, and I'm going to give you a release date for each and every movie that is the answer to a question. So what more could you ask for? 1 clue, 2 clues, and then the release date. It's like I'm handing you cash. Speaking of cash, $50 is the pot today. So everybody who wins gets a piece of that pie. Even if you miss an answer, keep playing, because you never know what those points are going to be good for down the road. And it's fun to watch me host. It's also fun, I've heard, other people have told me this, to watch me do stand-up. And you can actually do that right now on Amazon Prime. My special, Dog Stepfather. My comedy hour is now on Amazon Prime. It's a great honor to be knighted by the same people who sell us very expensive carrots at Whole Foods and deliver us mail each and every day, like a Sega Genesis controller or a Nintendo Wii, both of which I ordered from Amazon Prime in the last month. So you can check out Dog Stepfather there. And if you're more of a movie buff, more of a sports buff, then today's game is for you. Here we go. I'm wearing this because it's sports, but it's also the NFL schedule is coming out as we speak. So I got to hurry up and get through this game, because they've still not announced one Washington football franchise game. Not one. I know the Monday night schedule now. I know the Sunday night schedule. I know every other schedule. I know what Tom Brady's doing on his off days. I still have no idea who my team is playing, besides hosting the Eagles in week 1. More on that as it comes in. In the meantime, let's get this game kicked off. Friendly reminder to share this app with your friends. Use your referral code. Tell them to use your referral code, because every time somebody joins the queue and they use your referral code, you get an extra life and they get an extra life. What's better than that? If you ask Mario and Luigi, the answer is nothing. Your first question in today's match. Remember, it's fill in the blanks. You got about 13 seconds, and I'm going to give you 2 hints and then the year. So here we go with your very first question of the day. Type in the answer as best you can. Sylvester Stallone plays Rocky Balboa, and Carl Weathers plays Apollo Creed, and the year is 1976. Kicking off with a softball here. Wow. We had a practice question written, but I was like, this first question is a nice heart rate warmer-upper. So, Sylvester Stallone and Carl Weathers. Now, look, they played these characters in multiple movies, so maybe you're thinking, is it Rocky 2? Is it Rocky 3? Is it Rocky 4? Yeah, well, that's the one where Apollo Creed died at the hands of Ivan Drago. But no, 76 was the release date, and that was the very first Rocky movie that went on to win some Academy Awards and made Sylvester Stallone a household name. The answer is Rocky, and look at how smart you all are. We have over 500 correct responses, and that requires some fast typing. Of course, Rocky's only 5 letters, so this next question may be a little faster typing. Here it is. Walter Matthau played Coach Buttermaker. So did Billy Bob Thornton, and the years were 1976 and 2005. So this movie, the original, came out the same year as Rocky, and the remake came out the same year as, I'm not sure what other sports movie came, maybe The Longest Yard remake? But yeah, one's the original, one's the remake. You got it? Did you type it in? This one's a longer answer. Okay, the answer, it's not Friday Night Lights. It's not The Longest Yard, but those are both solid football movies, regardless whether you're going with the show, Friday Night Lights, or the movie, or either version of The Longest Yard. The answer we're looking for is Bad News Bears. Bad News Bears, just a ragtag group of kids looking to win a championship and make their drunken coach proud. That's where the Bad News Bears is, and a lot of y'all knew that one too. So we clearly have a lot of movie and sports experts here on the Q app today. 2 for 2, and moving on to our third question of 12. And that is, Bill Murray plays Big Ern McCracken, and Woody Harrelson plays Roy Munson, and the year was 1996. Saw this movie in the theater, and as you can judge by the cast, it is hilarious. From the Farrelly brothers, who also did Dumb and Dumber, and There's Something About Mary. This one may be a little bit of an unsung movie because it's overshadowed by those two giant hits, but this one's, man, especially the scenes with Big Ern at the beginning and end of the movie. Kingpin is one of the funnier movies. I'll say it's the funniest bowling movie ever made. Are there other bowling movies? But I would take Kingpin over Big Lebowski. That'll be the tweet question of the day. Tweet me if you agree or disagree. Kingpin over the Big Lebowski. Maybe it's a hot take. You tell me. Either way, we have 166 perfect games left. So it looks like there's going to be some big time money winners here today. Let's pay our rent with your fourth question. Fill in the blank. Dennis Quaid plays Jim Morris, and it's a true story about Jim Morris playing in the major leagues. And the year was 2002. What movie are we looking for? Jim Morris, it's a true story. There was also a great pitcher named Jack Morris who won championship with the Tigers in the 80s. I'm not sure if they're related. I don't think so. You'd think maybe you could hit his uncle or older brother up for some tips. But eventually, Jim Morris did make it to the majors for the Tampa Bay Rays. And that story is depicted in the feel-good flick, The Rookie. He's an older rookie, and he uses the highway speed control sign as his gauge to see how fast he's pitching. It's a good movie, and it'll make you tear up. Your next question in sports movies. We're on to our fifth question, still over 100 games that are perfect. Brad Pitt. Heard of him? He plays Billy Bean. Philip Seymour Hoffman plays Art Howe, and the year was 2011. Not only a great sports movie, great soundtrack that is used all over the place. You see this, ESPN cannot get enough of this tune. Little guitar. That sounded like a horror score. It's not The Omen. Sorry about the misdirection with the music, but if you think about Moneyball, you may know what I'm talking about. If you've seen the movie, you know it's a really good true story. Brad Pitt playing, of course, Renegade. 200 perfect responses for that question, which means we have over 120 perfect games left. And we move on to question number 6. And that movie, Tim Robbins plays Nuke LaLoosh, and Kevin Costner plays Crash Davis. The year, 1988. Heralded as one of the all-time great sports movies. And I would agree, it's not even my favorite Kevin Costner sports movie, to be honest with you. Oh, look, there's a Redskins game. Sean McVay's playing at the Redskins week 5. Rams going to D.C. Anyway, back to baseball, which is what this movie's about. And have you ever heard of the Durham Bulls? Because the answer is, flip it around, Bull Durham. Kevin Costner's Crash Davis, and he's looking to get that mighty all-time home run king record. Will he get it? Will he score the love of one Susan Sarandon? It's a great movie, directed by Ron Shelton, who would go on to do White Men Can't Jump. See, you're learning stuff today. You didn't think you would, but I'm teaching you. An idiot in a backwards hat and a Redskins jersey is actually teaching you. Don't worry, it's only going to last for 6 more questions. Your 7th question today. Basketball documentary is this movie set in Chicago, and this William Gates did not start Microsoft. It's a different William Gates. The movie came out in 1994. Remember, it's a documentary. And I remember when this came out, and more importantly, I remember when the Oscars were announced, the Oscar nominations, and this movie got snubbed for Best Documentary. Wasn't even in the 5 best documentaries that year. I cry foul. So did Roger Ebert. We were both right, because Hoop Dreams is the best documentary that made one of the best ones I've ever seen. You go back to 94 and you watch that. Oh, it's so good. William Gates was one of the 2 basketball players that followed that. A great trivia question is, who's the other basketball player? Name's on the tip of my tongue. Can't get it. Maybe it'll pop into my head later in the game. Meanwhile, we have 86 perfect games remaining. So we move on to your next fill-in-the-blank question. 13 seconds to write in the answer to this. Wesley Snipes plays Willie Mays Hayes. Charlie Sheen plays Ricky Wild Thing Vaughn, and the year was 1989. Oh, this brings a smile to my face. Not just because of those two stars, but also because of the announcer, played by real life baseball lifer Bob Uecker. Some of the funniest lines ever heard in cinematic form were delivered by the Cleveland Indians announcer, played by Bob Uecker, who's just an all-time great in the world of entertainment and baseball and sports and in movie announcing, because he was in Major League, starring Charlie Sheen as Ricky Wild Thing Vaughn and Wesley Snipes as Willie Mays Hayes. One of the reasons why Major League 2 just doesn't cut the mustard for me is because they replaced Wesley Snipes with Omar Epps. Omar Epps is fine, but you got to keep Snipes and make it rated R2. Anyway, I digress. Next question. In the world of sports movies, Sean Astin plays Daniel Rudiger, and Jon Favreau plays D. Bob McGowan, and the year was 1993. What do you got for that one? And a little bit of a trick. They're trying to pull a fast one here at the Q. See if you can pick up on it. It's a short answer. There's your hint. And it also involves college football. And Sean Astin playing Daniel Rudiger, known by the more popular nickname Rudiger, is a tough name to say. So maybe you would just call him Rudy. Rudy, Rudy, Rudy. The name of the movie is Rudy. That's what the crowd chants at the end. Was any of it actually true? Who the hell knows? Rudy went to Notre Dame and got on the team for a time and I guess played in a game. But Joe Montana doesn't remember him. He never remembers hearing about him. And Joe Montana, I know, played at Notre Dame. So I don't know. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. And I consider Rudy to be one of the finest documentaries of our time. Your next question in the queue. This is your 10th in today's game. You still perfect? We got 78 perfect rounds left. Robert Redford plays Roy Hobbs, and Kim Basinger plays Mimo Paris. And the year was 1984. I know my buddy Will, big fan of the first name Mimo. Mimo Paris, 1984. Robert Redford, Roy Hobbs. What's the... Can you think of it? You want to talk about a stirring soundtrack, and you want to talk about an all-time great climax, the ball hitting the lights in the stadium and knocking them out as Roy Hobbs rounds the bases. The natural lightning struck a tree, and that's what gave Roy Hobbs the wood to make his own baseball bat. You can't write this stuff. I'm being told that's not a true story and actually was written by someone. So I guess you can write this stuff. But the natural's really good. Totally loveless relationship between Redford and Glenn Close and then Basinger's. And that doesn't work, but the baseball stuff is great. All right. My opinion aside, 2 questions left. They're both fill in the blank, and they're both about sports movies. Your penultimate question in today's match, Chevy Chase plays Ty Webb, and Ted Knight plays Judge Smales. The year of my birth, 1980. Oh, boy. I mean, we talked about Kingpin being not just a great sports movie, but a great comedy. I think this falls in the category of all-time great comedy. So many big laughs. Chevy Chase is great as Ty Webb. Obviously, Ted Knight as Judge Smales. Spaulding! But then you also had Rodney Dangerfield as Al Chervik. And then who could forget Bill Murray as the befuddled groundskeeper who somehow wins the Masters. Cinderella story. We're talking about Duty! Now it's just a Baby Ruth bar. Caddyshack. Caddyshack's the answer. And I'm so proud of everybody who's still playing. We have well over 350 y'all still competing for fun and games. And we have 76 perfect rounds left for that $50 pot. So who's going home with some money? We're about to find out, because this is your last question, and it is fill in the blank. Gene Hackman plays Norman Dale. Dennis Hopper plays Shooter. The year is 1986. Dennis Hopper's character name, accurate for no reasons. One, because his character enjoys hunting and occasionally passing out in the woods. And Shooter is also what Jimmy Chitwood is. He's a sharpshooter in the 1950s for a little, you know what? I doubted them the whole movie, and the movie's about them. And they still ended up winning the state championship. That would be Hoosiers. They won the state championship. It's based on a true story. The basketball is great to watch, but man, what was basketball like before the three-point line? I do not want to know the answer to that question. and I'll never have to again because now we have the 3-point line, we have dunking, it's all legal, and we have the Redskins. I still have not heard a game that the Redskins are playing in 2020. It's been 52 minutes and I'm still been denied. But hey, that's my personal life. Here on the Q, we had a number of winners. Look at all the winners we had today. Congrats on everybody's sports movie knowledge. We hope that you enjoyed this match of the Q because, hey, we made it through one successfully. Thank you, Internet. So congrats to everyone. And I will